talk today a little bit about an income opportunity that you can learn how to, of course, create or have a little bit more time to build your business, more flexibility and independence. So, three types of income that you may be familiar with, and maybe not. One that pretty much everybody on this call has heard of from one form or another is the linear income, trading time for money. And but today we're going to talk to you a little bit about some leveraged income, second part of the call, and how to pick up some residual income. It could be part of your retirement plan. So we'll be evaluating the company, the need in the marketplace, product, compensation, and timing. This company literally started by accident. So this mission was born from Harlan C. Stonecipher, who was in an accident, and he had life insurance just in case he didn't make it. He had health insurance for the hospital bills that were definitely mounting, but what he was not prepared for was the legal lawsuit that ensued after this accident, and he had to come up with thousands of dollars, and he just felt that it wasn't fair. So we're going to talk to you about that today. 1972 establishment, 4.4 million lives across the U.S. and Canada, providing equal access, liberty, equality, and opportunity and justice that everybody deserves. We're featured in Forbes, CSNBC, Yahoo Finance, and Bloomberg. So the disruptive model or subscription model that we're going to talk to you about today is it kind of breaks the norms of, for example, when you're talking about shopping in the mall or even at Walmart for that matter, one thing that is new, well, sort of new, but not really. It's been around for a little bit, and especially during COVID, we were doing a lot of this, and that's shopping online. So you have things like Amazon, eBay, things like that. Makes it simpler, easier, more affordable, and a lot of times you can find things on Amazon that you just can't find in the store. The same with music. So there's all kinds of different music out there, and sometimes you'd end up going to your Hastings. I don't even know if there's even Hastings anymore, but you would go to the local store to try and find that that music that you really liked, a Tom Petty CD that has that one song that you can't find anywhere, and then you get there and it's every song but the one that you're looking for. And but what you can now do is, if you go to Spotify, or if you look that stuff up on even YouTube, you can find any song made by any artist at any time. If it's ever been published, it's out there. Out here in New Mexico, we have an artist by the name of Al Hurricane, and you can even find his music on YouTube. It's a shock, but he's known as the godfather of New Mexico music, but you can find it there. So what about the justice system? We're just talking about that with the history of Harlan C. Stonecipher, and how a lot of times it's just kind of out of reach for most Americans, and what a lot of times and Canadians for that matter. But what happens a lot of times is people say, "Oh, I only need attorneys when I'm being divorced or sued or being got into well." But what they really are not being truthful about is that they're not accessing that justice system, even though they say, "Oh, I don't need that," but the truth is they just don't have it. But what about that? And now we have this app, it's called LegalShield, where we can access the justice system. We're going to get into how much it is in just a second, where you can at the touch of a button and right on your app, you can do things like setting up your last will and testament, something as major as that. You can do that right from the app. You can the other app, as you can see here on this display, actually we'll talk about that in the second part, but that is identity theft. So we're going to tell you how you can help protect yourself from that. And then the third part of the call, we're going to tell you how you can make some extra additional money, part-time money or full-time, traffic tickets, insurance claims being denied, credit scores, and your rights, knowing what your rights are, and just accounts being hacked. So the LegalShield app is simple. Once you tap the app, you can have unlimited access to your law firm, meaning that you can touch that app, and at any time you can get that access point and just access really thousands of attorneys anywhere, any state, any wherever you're at, you can have access to that. There's a letter benefit also, where if you ever needed to dispute anything, one of my favorite parts, you can have a letter drafted if it's in your best interest by your law firm, and it's all about the same amount. In other words, you don't pay extra for that. Document review, where they say the big print giveth, the small print taketh away. And the last will and testament is something that I always wanted to do. I just didn't want to pay thousands of dollars to do it. And then you have an auto-related legal, where you can actually upload speeding tickets. Not that anybody on this call has ever gotten one of those, or fender benders or major accidents. And guess what? The best part is your whole family is covered. And there's much, much more, guys. 24/7 emergency access, all that good stuff from the touch of your app. And you can access all of that, as you can see right here, and much, much more. All right. So everybody's covered, as I just mentioned. Yourself, if you're married, you got a spouse or domestic partner, and never married dependent children under the age of 26 living at home, or actually full-time college students, and physically or mentally disabled children, regardless of age, living at home. And then as I mentioned, there's another app that you definitely want to have if you have this one. And this one is called Identity Shield. So this one is one that you want to download to your phone as well. This app is just as good, or if not better, than anything else out there, because once you download this app, it's going to protect you from all of these areas of identity theft, help you to know when somebody is messing with your credit score, social, passport, driver's license, email, medical, the dark web, social media, all the fun stuff that no one really wants to talk about. What this company will do is you're going to have that app that's going to help you to watch it. But if somebody does steal your identity, the main thing is they're going to restore it. In other words, they're going to fix you back to pre-theft status. Favorite part of the Identity Shield is that they're going to do whatever it takes, as long as it takes, to restore you back to pre-theft status. Amazing. So you're going to have your password manager, VP Proxy One, and helping you out and all those dangerous, blocking all those dangerous websites. And we've all been in situations where you're gonna use the Wi-Fi somewhere, and it's risky. You know, a lot of times it's going to be risky, and you're not going to be able to get that protection that you know that you're going to need. And so our family plan, just like the legal plan, is going to be right around $1 a day, $1 and change, for the whole family. If you're an individual, it's going to be much less than $1 a day, which is $19.95, as you can see here. And basically that protects you and the whole family, just like the legal plan. And it's going to cover the person, your entire family, for that restorative service all the way up to the age of 26. You got members perks, guys, for the stuff that you're doing on a daily basis. So for example, I have T-Mobile, and I get to save some money on my T-Mobile bill. Every single time that it comes in, I get a little discount. Got Verizon. And then the other day, I just because I do a little bit of which we call the group side or business solution side, but I ordered 10,000 copies from Office Depot. It sounds like a lot, but my discount was really, really significant. It was hundreds of dollars that I actually got discounted off of all of those copies, and I was gonna get those copies done anyways. So it's really nice that our company has built in this members perks where we can get discounts for all of that and much, much more. So let's talk about getting compensated for all of this. So compensation is what you may be looking for, is making an additional amount of money. Even the dogs were barking once they heard that. But we have all of these folks here. You got Brian Carruthers, Melissa Carruthers, Darnell and Tracy South, Alex Shahid, Anita Sarda, Liz and Dave LeCue, and Daniel and Rebecca Gonzalez. What all those folks have in common is that they've all made quite a bit of money. Some of them over $1 million on an annual basis. There's many people on this call that have actually experienced some form of commission from this company. If you've been with us for a little while, you know, be willing to bet that you can't even say you haven't received some form of commission, whether it's a little bit or a big amount. And so you can earn a bunch of different ways with this company. This example is based on a 6490 or the family plan, meaning the legal and the identity shield program. But when you first get started with the company, you're going to start at our associate level. And as you can see, when you turn in that application, you're actually going to be making right around $70 once it processes and all that. And so that's amazing, because the significant part is that you actually are going to be making more than you're turning in to the company. And that's like super cool. And your bonuses right now, it's actually 100. I just downloaded the app, the slides, and so it's actually past the valid time of the extra little bonus there, but that's all right. And you actually have the ability to earn that extra $100 when you get to what we call senior associate level. And I'll let the person that invited you on explain to you exactly how we do that, but super easy to do that. You can get that done with 3 memberships and just 1 person that joins you on your team, and that's going to get you there. If you do it in 20 days or less, as I mentioned, there's going to be a bonus of some sort. And it's exciting knowing that you have that ability to do that within 20 days or less. Check my time. Okay, I'm good. And the really exciting thing is, if you look on the left-hand side there, it's talking about team overrides, and it's cumulative. So what that really means is, once I'm a senior associate, I could start getting overrides for everybody that I recruit when they start selling memberships. Starts off at right around $20 in this example, and as you go up the compensation scale, you can make it all the way up to executive director. That's a qualified level. But just the beauty of that is just knowing that you can build a team there. And when you're not marketing a membership, let's just say somebody in your team might market a membership. So this is actually the best part of that is just knowing that you can build a team however nationwide, from sea to shining sea, or even in Canada if you so choose. And we have this thing called Performance Club. Performance Club is additional monies that you can start qualifying for and making right away. So once you get started, you can start building for that Performance Club. And starting up in the month of May, we're going to have this Performance Club start building up. So if you start building up in the month of April, you'll already be on your 2nd month. And by the month of June, you can start getting up to $200 every single month. And then after a year, it goes to $300 on the 13th month, then $400, and then you can max out $500 a month and start earning these trips all over the place. I just qualified for a trip. Got my that's amazing, just knowing that I get to go on a vacation, get to take my significant other, and we get to go on that vacation, all expenses paid. That means the flight, the food, and everything. Just whenever we decide to go eat, we can go eat. Whenever we decide to either have an adult beverage or regular beverage or whatever we want, we can do that. And my background, very briefly, is a teacher. And as a teacher, I never ever had that ability to go on any kind of a free vacation anywhere. And so we're pretty much married to our job at the time. And with this company, it's afforded me the ability to go on these all expenses paid trips. I think we've went on about 10 of them, I think, something, if memory serves correctly, and just all kinds of amazing places. We've even been to Disney World, and Disney World's a lot more fun when the company's paying your tab on on going out there to Disney World. So having that being said, let me see here. I'm going to see if I had a couple of testimonies. Right now, the ability to join this wonderful company right now, timing is everything. You're looking at as it says there, $49 to get started with our company. And the part where I said you get a bonus of $100, what just blows my mind is that that's actually double what it takes to get started with this company right now. So right now is the time. And let me see here if I can go out there to a couple of testimonies. Let's see if I got on. So I'm going to go out to, let's see here. One of the best parts about this business is that we get to work with our family, and if we so choose to. And I've got my daughter who actually works with me in the business. She's a director and has qualified for senior director before, and she's gonna start qualifying, no pressure at all, for senior director. But if you can come off of mute and give us your quick testimony, that would be awesome. Miss Adriana Archuleta, that would be great.
Absolutely. Thank you guys so much for having me on. And so my background is a professional pretzel roller. I don't know if you guys know those big soft pretzels from Auntie Anne's. Well, I was doing that for several years while I was putting myself through college, and I was, just trying to make as much money as I possibly could, just trying to, make it by, like I know we all try to do. And I was actually going to school to become a special education teacher. I was following in the educational field with my father and mother and quite a few other family members. It was just something that I just really was passionate about. And I really loved how I noticed, just all my family changing other people's lives. And I was like thinking that's something that I wanted to do. Well, of course, around then, education field started kind of decreasing, just funding and stuff like that, especially here in the state of New Mexico. So I decided to, take a break from school. I wasn't really sure if that's what I wanted to do. Plus, my plate was just overloaded. I was working 80 plus hours a week, and on my days off or my days I was going to school. So I just found myself really unhappy and not really having very much time for myself or to do the things that I love, like spending time with my family. And so I took a little bit of time off of school, and I still worked at the pretzel shop for a little while. And that's when my dad told me about, just joining it as a part-time associate. And at first I was like, oh, I don't know, Dad, I'm kind of, trying to take a little break here. And eventually I decided just to, go very part-time, start doing a few groups here and there with him on the B2B side. And before I knew it, I was just in love with doing group presentations, learning more, getting experience. And I actually started making a lot more money doing this very part-time than I was working my body off there at the mall. So I ended up leaving there completely and actually fully committed. And now, fast forward 7 years later, I would like to say I'm a full-time mom of my 3-year-old who has autism. And I'm expecting my second son here in about 4 weeks. So it's, just been something that I absolutely get all the time in the world that I need. And it's so flexible for me because my son does have a lot of therapy classes and stuff like that. So if I hadn't had this kind of transition 7 years ago and didn't have the residual income coming in that I have now, I surely wouldn't be able to have the income that I need to take care of my family. So I am so, so blessed and so glad that I had taken the opportunity and learned everything that I could. So thank you so much, sir. And back to you.
All right. Awesome. Thank you for that. And definitely looking forward to that grandbaby. And also, we're going to go out to Millionaire Club member. I got to hang out next to this gentleman out there in North Carolina. He drove a long ways for the international convention we just attended, but I'll go out to Millionaire Club member, Platinum Executive Director, Mr. Tony Petrell.
Thank you, Mr. Archuleta. Hey, my name's Tony Petrell. I live here in Charlotte, North Carolina. I started with LegalShield. I've had the membership now for almost 25 years. We've used it dozens and dozens of times. One time I bought something at a store for $15. It didn't work. The attorney wrote a letter. Guess what? No one could figure out why I would pay an attorney to chase something I bought for $15. But when it's already covered, right? I don't have to worry about checking my pocketbook to check my rights. Also, one time, a hospital, when I went to an emergency, said I owed $6,000. The law firm stepped in. Next thing you know, I only owe $1,000 for an emergency room visit. And the money's been great too. I'm a work from home dad now for over 20 years with LegalShield. We're working on our the money's great. but working from home and having residual income pouring into the bank account just allows me to spend more time with my kids in a week than the average dad does in a month. So in 12 weeks, I'm kind of lapping the average dad's whole year with spending time with my family. And that's what money can't buy, but we have it with LegalShield. Back to you, sir.
Awesome, sir. Awesome. I really appreciate that testimony, and just exciting knowing that you can do pretty much about as much as you want to do with this company, and exciting to see that that we have so much different mobility with this company. And so that is actually my part. We have 3 steps, guys. Enrolling as a member. Hopefully I had to go like 100 miles an hour, but hopefully you got the gist of the membership. Becoming an associate, that's a no-brainer, guys. 49 bucks. I mean, it's just, now's the time. And then test this out. See if you can get yourself paid daily with this opportunity to come on board with us as an associate. And so with that, I'm going to get out of the way, and I'm going to turn this call right back over to Miss Karen Irish Borrego. Go ahead and take the call over, man.
Thank you so much, Mr. Archuleta. You did a great job. I do want to mention we have other divisions. We have an insurance broker division, employee benefit division, a small business division, ladies of justice, also commercial driver division, and LegalShield and Espanol, plus a young pro division. If you have any interest in those, get back to the person who invited you on. We also want to mention Shield Nation is a very successful team, has an amazing track record. We have 555 plus associates on Performance Club. We have 263 executive directors, 78 six-figure ring earners, and 38 millionaire club members. Now what we're going to do is go out for announcements to Mr. Erlen Lewis. Mr. Erlen Lewis, over to you.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you there, Miss Karen Borrego, and it's always great to have you on here. Yeah, awesome. We just started this month very strong in the month of April, and so a lot of great incentives came and went. But at the same time, our company is always doing some really, really great incentives. One of the biggest incentives that we have here is Performance Club, and just remember, we are changing that up just a little bit, but at the same time, a lot more money is coming with it. So start today like it's already May, and start working your business that way. At the same time, too, Mr. Archuleta made an amazing announcement with, getting started with this amazing business, $49. I remember when I first started 9 years ago, with this great company, my investment was actually $249. So you guys get a $200 discount when you start today. And then at the same time too, we're giving out so many ways to increase to get more members, to get their will questionnaires done. So that's all on the app, as well as getting started is huge. But all in all, just a really, really great, I know there's tons and tons of promotion. At the same time, guys, it's only, I'm saying it's only a year away, but it's going to come very, very soon. So we're actually going to be having our international convention in Oklahoma City in April 18th to the 21st in 2024. I know it's still 2023, but guess what? This whole year is going to fly by really quick. So start building for that. So, but other than that, I just want to say thank you very much to our young lady. I appreciate the opportunity to share this, some announcements, and I know there'll be a lot more coming in the near future. And back to you.
Well, thank you so much, Erland. We really appreciate it. Now we're going to go out and have a special interview, one of our 40 under 40. And I'm going to go out to Mr. Tony Petrell, one of our top income earners. And he's going to talk about, and he's going to introduce our special guest who's going to interview Mr. Will Doerr. So Mr. Petrell, go ahead.
Thank you very much, Karen. Awesome. All right, team. It's been great. Great night for everyone being on here. Thank you so much. Great seeing so many of you in Charlotte, North Carolina, right here where I live. And now it's time for the team to stay on. Any guests you've already left or you need to leave now, because now we're going to do training and have a little bit of fun. But it's and I'm excited about what's going on here. So Will Doerr is our guest speaker. I can't wait to hear his story. I got a chance to sit across from you, Will, at the Black and Gold banquet in Charlotte, North Carolina. But your support team, your executive director support team, Timmer Halligan, ring earner Timmer Halligan, the great Timmer Halligan, kind of had you cornered to himself. And I know that's not true, but he was willing to share you with everyone else. But it was just great seeing you parade across the stage, my man, and get recognized in front of thousands and thousands of people on our stage for being one of the top 40 under 40 with LegalShield. So, Will, welcome to the Zoom. I want to start with what your background is, and then I've got a series of questions, and I'm sure Timmer will chime in too. So, Will, tell us a little bit about where you're from and what you were doing before LegalShield.
For sure, man. Yeah, first of all, I just want to say I really appreciate all that. But yeah, so I graduated high school actually about a couple of years ago. I attended college for a semester and just decided it wasn't for me. Soon after, I decided I wanted to become an entrepreneur. So I got into sales, started dabbling around in some door-to-door sales, doing various things, home security systems, cable and internet, phone sales. It was long days, long hours, sure as heck a lot of no's, much less maybe some violent responses. But yeah, it turned me into a pretty good salesman. So that kind of is what led me into LegalShield, actually.
Yeah, that's awesome. So once you get that entrepreneurial spirit, like I did, I kind of the same thing with many of us on this Zoom. I guess I started my business while I was in college. I had an asphalt seal coat business, and I was going door to door, and I was asking people if I could give them a free quote on how much it costs to do the black liquid seal coat on their driveway. And you just get used to, shaking hands and saying hi. And most people will say no. And it's just something that it gets you ready for LegalShield, gets you ready for life. What is the old saying?
Right.
You say a child by the time they're 5 hears the word no 3,000 times and hears yes 500. So
That's right.
It's like no. Get used to it. But Will, all right. So your background, high school, a little bit of college, and then you decided to start going for it. I know that in LegalShield, we don't train to go door to door. You know what I mean? No one that I know of has had success going door to door. And I'm glad that your last name isn't pronounced Doerr, or else you would have been Doerr going door to door. It's Doerr.
Yeah,
in some parts of the country, it might be Will Doerr, whatever. The bottom line, I guess I want to hear from you is what made you say, because I looked at Subway franchises. I thought about opening a Subway franchise. I'm sure you looked at a lot of different businesses once the entrepreneurial spirit hit you. So why LegalShield, Will? What made you say yes to this at 20, 21 years old? You've been on board for 6 months. So you were 21, right?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
All right.
I'd say first things first is when I looked at the services. I mean, firstly, they made sense. I mean, I truly do believe, in all honesty, that everyone needs these services. Personally for me, I've had a lot of speeding tickets. I'm a big car guy, so I like to go a little fast sometimes. So I believe that's an extremely powerful asset to have for any abundance of reasons whenever, you're anything dealing with the justice system. I looked at the compensation plan. I mean, that made a lot of sense to me. I liked how, I've worked in abundance of different types of sales where we did overrides and stuff where you could build a team and, collect, overrides and, make residual income, which is a very powerful thing in, 2023. So I looked at that. Those all made sense. And then, I talked to Timmer when his mom was in hospice, and, I saw what this company was able to do for his family in a time like that. And I thought that was extremely, extremely powerful. And it really touched me.
Well, that's awesome. When you match the ability to make money with the ability to help people and the ability to provide for your family and be there for family, man, it doesn't get much better than that. We got testimony after testimony about health issues or wanting to travel and see the world on this Zoom. People on this Zoom, we could spend an hour here going over stories. But let me go ahead. All right.
That's
so you were
right.
40 under 40 with LegalShield. Did you get any cash bonuses so far? Did you fast start qualify? Did you get performance club bonuses? How's the money, Will?
So yes, I didn't fast start qualify. It took me a little bit to actually get dialed in and everything, but I have made performance clubs some, and truly after convention, I really came out with a lot different of a mindset, and I'm prepared to crush it, man. I want to be seeing every single bonus hit my bank account every single month.
I know what that's like. I did not sell one membership for my first 11 months, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But somehow I stuck around, and now thousands and thousands of memberships later, right? So you never know. And I didn't fast start qualify either, clearly. So Will, it doesn't matter where you've been, it matters what you do now, right? And where you're going.
That's right.
And I know that you've already made, a bunch of money in LegalShield. I know that you're qualifying and one of the top recruiters and things like that. What price have you had to pay with LegalShield? And then I want to go out to Timmer and have him chime in also on what's going on with you and your game plan. But if you had to make some sacrifices, because you don't just come on board and all of a sudden you're 40 under 40 or you're being recognized on stage.
Right.
What are some of the things you've had to do where you kind of said, you know what, if I'm going to have success, I need to pay the price?
See, we all have different things going on in our lives. I mean, it's life, we're all gonna have stuff going on no matter what. And no matter what, I make sure I'm on those Zooms every week, at least our Monday and Wednesday night Zooms, if not more. I try to be, making at least a couple interactions every day. And, sometimes that's hard with life, especially with having a big family, I actually have a mother and sister who I've gotten into the business. So that's been cool getting to, bring family into work. But, just it's hard balancing everything out sometimes. And that's something that, can be an everyday battle at times. And, also I've sacrificed time allotted for, what most 21-year-olds are doing to, build what I'm building, which is, hopefully we can turn this into a 6 or 7 figure business in the near future. And, that's something that takes a lot of time and effort and commitment.
Well, congratulations that you're willing to make that commitment. And I know that I guess I was trying to run a business at 21, but it was, you know what I mean? I was fighting to finish college and all the other things too. I just knew I wanted to have some kind of business, right? Well, let me go out to Timmer Halligan. Timmer is one of our top associates in the whole country. Again, recognized at the executive director banquet, 6-figure ring earner, $150,000 ring earner with LegalShield Millionaire Club member. Timmer, tell me about Will. When did he come on your radar, and what are some of the things you guys did in terms of putting together a game plan to have him have this success?
Well, thanks so much, Tony, and congratulations, Will, for where you are right now. And very similar to you, Tony, myself included. I mean, I went the first 5 years without plugging into one Zoom, right? I wasn't on anything at the beginning because I felt like I had a better way, and my better way wasn't nearly as good as the better way that LegalShield has for us. I mean, we've had a formula that's created, 300 plus millionaires. And I think Will accelerated much more or faster than a lot of people have, right? We've all got associates that don't plug in. They don't follow the system. We're the first to say, I have an associate that won't follow the system. And we were the same person who didn't follow the system, maybe necessarily right out of the gates when we first started. But here's what I can say about Will. He's become very, very coachable. Like I said, I met Will. He was actually dating my niece at the time. And he was actually at the hospital when my mom was going through hospice. And we just chatted a little bit, right? I mean, heck, I had a lot of things going on. I'm like, listen, I've got something I'd like to share with you. Take about 15 minutes. Let's sit down and let's talk about it. And he looked at it, he saw it, and we sat down and we chatted. He came on board and, put together his list, and we started to introduce his list. And, a few months into it, he started to really introduce his list. And I know he's got a buddy on here, Spencer, right now, who came to convention with him. His sister, Anna, has been actively inviting folks to come on to different Zooms. You got another young guy named Peter, who's down in Texas, I think, right now, who's been inviting folks, right now to stuff. His mom has come on board and she's inviting people to stuff. And he's got several folks that are inviting people. So I think that, Will has really started to realize that it takes 3 things to be successful: that burning desire, which I think a lot of us have, but not sure what that means; the willingness to put in work. We put in hours, but we don't actually focus during those hours. And then coachability, which I think is Will's greatest asset. He's always taking notes. he's always asking and clarifying, what can I do better? And so when he was recognized at the convention this year, I was super excited for him because I know that he talks about 6-figure and 7-figure incomes, and he's, you know, willing to put in the work, and he actually listens and he's coachable. So Will, I'm proud of you. And, you know, Spencer, who I know is also on tonight, who was at the convention. I mean, you're 21 years old and you're choosing to go to Charlotte and go to a convention where you could be going out in your hometown. Although I will say both these guys found all kinds of cool people to hang out with in Charlotte while they were there, right? We can all probably remember that when we were younger. But they did great, man. So I'm super excited for them. Back to you, Tony.
Yeah, and Will, I just want to ask you pointedly. Thanks, Timmer. I want to ask you pointedly, okay? And then we're going to go out for Q&A real quick. But all right. So you make a list and then you start contacting and inviting people, right? And then we got the 10 core commitments, and that's talking to 2 people a day. And someone like you who's having success, you might be talking to 5 people a day. What might be something that we could all say to someone just to pique interest? How are you? You're going to your list of people. Maybe we might even meet someone new. Maybe if you're at a Chili's or an Applebee's and you see a server, what might you say to someone that you never met before? And what might you say to a friend if you want them to take a look at LegalShield?
That's a tough one. There's just so much. Do you have time for me to show you something that could change your life?
Yeah. That's awesome. It's funny because, and people might ask you questions and then you can come back with, well, just watch this 2-minute video. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's funny because when I wanted my little brother to take a look at this, I just said, shut up, watch the video. Because he's my little brother. But when I wanted to have my rich Uncle Jerry take a look at it, I had to say, Jerry, can you help me out? Can you do me a favor and take a look at this? And he's like, oh, sure, little Tony, I'll take a look at this video, right? Next thing you know, he's buying stock in the company when we were on the New York Stock Exchange. and he's the kind of guy that like rents a jet out for the whole family when he goes on a vacation. I mean, we're talking about rich Uncle Jerry. And but what's, I guess, what tool are you using? What tip might you give us in terms of prospecting people?
So are you talking about in general or like you're talking about just in general?
Yeah, anything.
So, I mean, one mistake I made that I suggest to everyone is you got to be coachable from the beginning. That's essential if you want to, you know, not only fast start qualify, but get, you know, make some quick headway on building a, you know, largely lucrative business. Most importantly, I mean, it's always going to come back to this, just follow the system. You know, plenty of people have done this already. So you got to just look at what others have done and replicate it, which is something, you know, I try to do with my business and it seems to work somewhat. But I don't know. It made sense to me, and I, you know, got to work, and, you know, I'm starting to make progress more and more every day. So it's nice to see some direct results of long days and, you know, long hours and a lot of work. And just last things I'll close with this is, you know, successful people will do what unsuccessful people are not willing to do. And that's a very powerful quote I heard from a wise man.
Cool. So how many people do you try and keep in play, or how many different, you know, people maybe last week did you ask to take a look at LegalShield coming out of convention?
I'd say a minimum of 20. I've been going out and socializing with people all over. Just I try to just make a point to just everywhere I'm going, at least try to talk to one person. And, you know,
Okay.
I ordered some business cards not long ago. I try to hand at least 5 business cards out a day, even if it's someone who I don't have a lot of time to talk with. And, you know, obviously most people are not going to be interested. You know, that's just how it works. But I have had, even the people who I haven't had some in-depth conversations with, I've had people at the very least reach out, and, you know, that's something. And, you know, it's just staying consistent with everything, man. It's essential.
That's awesome. Let's say that you worked 5 or 6 days last week on LegalShield. And I know that it's not like a set deal, but I guess for everyone out here on the Zoom right now, you might have tuned in thinking, how am I going to hear about this guy who went and got into the 40 under 40 club? And how did he get recognized on stage in front of thousands in Charlotte? Well, here's my question for everyone on the Zoom. Did you talk to 20 people last week? I did not. I did not ask 20 people to take a look at LegalShield. And so I know you're not going to nod your head because it's easier just to go, oh, I don't know. Did I know? Yeah, sure I did. No, you didn't. Look at the numbers are the numbers are the numbers. Arnold Schwarzenegger didn't get his body like that by doing 10 sit-ups a day. He was on David Letterman, and he said that at age, I think it was at age 65, he was doing 1,000 sit-ups a day because he wasn't doing them like he used to, because he was doing 3,000 when he was in his prime, right? So, I mean, the numbers are the numbers. Numbers don't lie, people do. So if everyone on this call, Will, I bet you probably would agree with this, and Timmer, you too.
Tony,
Gosh, if we just
I
did
got a
2
comment
day,
when you finish up, buddy.
just 2 a day, right, Timmer?
You know, here's what we've discovered, and I know you'll realize this back in the days with John Drennan, back in Michigan. You know, some of the things that Will and I do, Spencer and I do, are a lot of role playing. Like, we literally get on the phone and say, let's talk about how to invite somebody to a conversation. Like, and we'll go 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 takes. Like, you know, Will, if we were to talk about how we role play, I'll be like, okay, we'll start. He'll go, hey, John, what's happening? How are things? I got someone I want to say, LegalShield. No. Cut, take 2. We'll do it again. Then we'll go to cut, take 3, take 4, take 5. I mean, Will, think about that. Last week, we must have been 15, 20 takes on one 3-minute conversation. And that's how you get better. I mean, practice makes better, right? That's what it is. And so often we don't want to practice. And Will can say this, and Spencer, who's on there, and his sister's on here. It's like, we'll go ring, ring, hello. And we'll start 3 seconds in. No, stop. Let's go back and start again. First 20 seconds are great. Last 10 weren't good. Okay, let's do it again. First 45 seconds were great. Okay, let's do it again. And that's how we got better. Spencer, I know you're on here right now, and Spencer is, you know, maybe he can speak for a second. He was in, Charleston, in Charlotte. And Spencer, tell us a little bit about how, you know, when we started, Spencer, we were going to do a private conference call, and we didn't do a lot of role playing first. He's like, I'm not getting a lot of results. We said, okay, let's go back and evaluate why we're not getting results. And it was too much information too soon. Spencer, what do you got to say, man? Can you jump on real quick and unmute?
Yes, sir. I'm right here. I just had to step out because we had people in the room. But basically we went over some scripting, and essentially what you told me is like, hey man, what's up? How you doing? How's your day going? They respond, of course, appropriately. Like, hey, you got like 15 minutes tonight at 7 o'clock just to like hop on for a second on this call. Like, do you have like any time tonight? Or we'll start with, what are you doing tonight? And then we went to that after they said they're free or whatever. And then if they agree, you know what I'm saying, be like, all right, I appreciate it. That's really great. Like, it's really informational. Like, I want you to hop on and just listen to what we have to say. I'm like, just kind of, just like get them to just like coerce them to hop on and just listen. Like, don't pressure them. Like, you may or may not be interested, but if you are, that's great. If you're not, maybe you know someone who is, you know. And that's kind of what I got from that.
Isn't that classic, Tony? I mean,
Yeah, I think it's funny. You almost sounded natural. Spencer, I'm surprised you didn't say, "Hey, Tyler, would you appreciate the opportunity to make some extra income through a business
that's where I went wrong.
That's
where I went wrong at first, and then Timmer
would
went
like
over
to be on a Zoom."
Yeah, I went wrong by doing that at first, and then Timmer really trained me, like kind of guided me into how to really like step forward and make someone interested without pressuring them. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, some people are listening to, some people watch me on a Zoom and they go, crap, if Tony can do it, you know what I mean? So you guys are 21 and I'll be damned if you're going to get all the recruits, darn it. I'm ready.
Well, I'm 25, Will's 22, but yeah. I'm a little older than Will.
50 over 50, Timmer. All right. Who else has a question for Mr. Will Doerr and his team? Anybody? Speak up.
I'll ask a question. Teresa.
I knew Teresa would. Teresa?
Yeah, we got these hot shots here. Take advantage of it. So when you sign up a new associate, what do you do right after they signed up? How do you get them fast start qualified?
So I think it's extremely beneficial, if not essential, probably both. But to just follow up with someone at least once a day. I mean, even it takes usually I think 24 hours or so to process everything to get going, like the website and everything to get pulled up. I'm like that night typically, well, daytime that. Right within a few hours of the membership, like signing up the membership, I'll already be like, listen, we got to get a game plan together. What's your goals, like financially, and just get your list together is extremely important. Like I'd say there's a lot that goes into that, but basically you also want to follow up every day. I think is really important, and then get the list together. I'd say those are
Well, let me piggyback real quick here. Like I'm gonna take it to my own personal experience with you. We went over a document from Timmer that told us like after this, it's like not even until the 6th try typically that someone will join anything that's presented to them. And Will kept like just putting the information in front of me repeatedly. It probably took him 10 times to even get me on board, but eventually I stepped in. Yeah,
That's
and,
right.
like, the thing is persistence, bro. That's the key.
That's right.
Well,
Yes,
that's
sir.
I agree wholeheartedly. So we got persistence, we got a game plan, Teresa, and follow up with them every day. I heard Brian Crothers say one time that when they sign up to be an associate, that's just giving you permission to continue to recruit them until they're where they want to be. So, all right, great. Who's next? Question? Jane?
Yeah, this is embarrassing. Will, I met you at the convention with Timmer. We had lunch together. What is your name? Up until today, I've always called you Will.
Yeah, no, it is Will Doerr actually. Some people pronounce it Doerr. It's actually pronounced Doerr. I didn't want to correct you earlier, Tony.
That's all right.
Open the door.
We all want to know what your real name is. So, okay, I wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
William Tyler Doerr.
Yeah, you can hear that Boston accent of his.
That's right.
Not quite Boston.
He's a
Where do you
doer,
live?
not a
Where are
doer.
you from?
Kentucky. I've lived in Louisville, Kentucky most of my life, but I actually lived born in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. I know Timmer's familiar with that, being from Louisville. And then I lived in a place called Glasgow, Kentucky for a few years, which is a bit southern. It's where I got a mixed accent. It's like a mix between country boy and city boy. It's like, I don't know.
He's a country city boy for sure.
That's right.
That's awesome. Anyone else have a question for Will Doerr?
I got one. Will. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, I just wondered, I know you're new. Are you planning or have you started doing any presentations yourself or any meetings?
Not quite yet. I'm definitely on track to do that, getting more comfortable with, I've always been a social person, but I'm still working on getting the little minor details memorized. Just, there's a lot of little things to remember, but I'm getting back into getting comfortable and speaking in front of, getting on stage at convention was definitely some good headway, getting on stage, even though I only had to say, a couple things, but, getting on stage for a couple thousand people is definitely some progress, but I've been feeling a lot more comfortable with speaking with people. So I'm getting there. Not yet though.
Well, you're doing great. I just want to tell you, thank you. Congratulations.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Couple more questions, anyone?
Yes, Mr. Petrillo, I do. This is Lisa Dixon. So the
Great.
question is for Will and for Spencer. I have a nephew. He's turning 22 next month. He's already an entrepreneur, and he is actually selling electronics or something door to door. He did I did invite him to a Young Professionals video Zoom last year, or a couple of years ago. But what would I do if he's already an entrepreneur? Can he also work with the LegalShield as well as what he's doing? Okay.
Definitely. Yeah. So I don't know, a personal goal of mine. I believe in, current society, it's essential to have, my goal by the end of this year is to have 5 different streams of income. LegalShield is my number one thing. I'm on board till I die. You're going to have to kill me if you're going to take this from me. I'm that committed and that passionate about our mission. But I have much stronger goals than the average person. Like, I'd say I'm in that top 1% as far as my goals for someone my age. And I mean, this is just an opportunity that just makes so much sense that it wouldn't make sense to not do it, even if you have other stuff going on. You know what I mean? And I would share something like that with your nephew. I'm not sure exactly what his goals are like, but I know a lot of younger people definitely want to be better off financially so they can make their dreams happen. And that's something for me. I want to just, definitely make as much income as I can while I'm here, because, life is way too short.
Mhm. Okay, thank you, Will. And
Yes,
congratulations.
ma'am. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Awesome. Anyone else?
Hey, I have a question. My name is Brian. I'm in the New York, New Jersey area. Question, do you guys ever do any role-playing Zooms, any like smile and dial sessions? And if so, how would I be able to participate?
Great question.
We haven't, I don't know if Timmer was going to take that or not, but we haven't done like a straight role playing Zoom. We do some private Zooms with our team. Me and Timmer will even do one-on-one Zooms sometimes, just going over things, just talking about how things are and what we need to do to reach a certain goal. We haven't done just straight role playing Zoom. That's something we can do a little more over the phone, though. That is a good idea. I'm going to keep that in mind now that you do ask that, Brian.
We're going to do that next Monday night.
That's
Right
good.
here.
I was going to say, Tony, that's it. I know, Tony, you I can remember, I know you came from, back in the day when you all used to do those Zooms or not, didn't have Zoom back then, but lots of role playing with Mr. Drennan over and over and over again. And I think it's one of the most underutilized tools that's out there, because people just don't want to go through it, right? Like, it's got to be able to say, start again, let's do it again, say it again. And when you get it, like Will and Spencer, you guys can both talk about in last week, how much better did you feel? Because we realized that was an area that we can get stronger in, right? You assume
That's
everybody
right.
can invite people. And I've got a little Zoom I put together, or a little video I put together for the team, and this is how you do it. But if you don't practice it, gosh, you don't get good at it, right? That's just what it is. So I'm glad we're going to do something next week, and anything I help with, Tony, let me know.
Yep. Anyone else?
Yeah, follow-up question, Brian, again. Do you guys ever do any smile and dial sessions? Thank you.
Are you talking about calling individual people, or talking about the solution space, or what?
Well, right. So just say Business Solutions has like the Blitz. Do you guys ever do like a smile and dial where you have maybe people on camera, maybe, not on camera, but people kind of making phone calls at the same time, either way?
No,
not as much as we should. I'll say that. I think that's, again, another tool that more people could do. So Brian, if you want to reach out to me and chat a little bit more, I'd be happy to speak with you about it.
And that other thing I'll say there, thanks for asking these questions, Brian, because this is why having a workout partner is so good. And it doesn't have to be within your team, even someone that you can have guidance from. See, there's a difference between a coach and a workout partner. Timmer and I learned that from John Drennan. He said a workout partner meets you at the gym. A coach, meets you at the track. A coach gets you to run faster, but the coach doesn't run with you. The coach is the coach. Your workout partner's doing it. So once you get a coach, or once you get tips from your support team, Brian, or us, or whoever, on how to do how to dial and approach people, now it comes down to you getting a workout partner or a group of people, or creating a Zoom and doing that and practicing. Even if it's not all together on the same thing, it can be where you got 2 or 3 people and you're saying, okay, let's have a call, and you do a Zoom, and then you say, okay, break 30 minutes from now, let's get back on the Zoom. and let's see how we did. You know what I mean? We can create our own stuff also, Brian, but we're definitely going to do that workshop on some role playing next Monday night right here. So you can bring that to your support team too, your executive director, Brian, and we can continue to, you can continue to ask questions and work and figure out how it can be done. Great questions.
I appreciate
Anyone
it.
else?
Thank you.
Yeah. Anyone else? Here's my last one then. We're going to end it with this. Will, I'm going to ask you this one. Someone, whether they're brand new, this is my question I always ask. Someone, whether they're brand new or they've been around a while and they want to go to the next level, what are a couple tips you'd give to them? I'm almost ready to be, I'm sick of being at manager. I'm sick of being at director or whatever. Been a director forever. It's time for me to go to the next level. It's almost like a clean slate. What do I do to kind of revamp and start from now?
Well, it's definitely essential to always be coachable no matter what, because there's always going to be someone who knows something you don't, no matter what you're doing in life. That's why I always try to stay open to new things and just advice, especially people particularly in a better position than I am, or in a position where I'd strive to be in. That's definitely essential. I mean, there's always follow the system. That's essential. One of probably the most important things, as well as being coachable. And then just staying consistent and persistent. I mean, that's really important, because you get out of it what you put in, rather. Which, if you're putting 2 hours a week into this, you're going to get 2 hours a week worth of results. If you're putting 20 to 40 plus hours a week, maybe 80 hours a week, you're going to get that amount of time worth of results, and I mean, obviously there's other factors that play into that, but you get out of it what you put in. So I'd say that's about the best I got to offer.
well, that's great, Will, because what you just said were really like 3 philosophy things.
Yeah.
You be coachable, you put in the time, you know what I mean? You carve it out, you figure it out. But if everyone was listening, you also said that you made a list. You did some role playing so you didn't fumble around. And then you approached 20 people last week.
Yes, sir.
and I'll hazard to guess that if someone has got a really great polished Dave Savola type of a invitation, Brian Crothers invitation, and they only talk to 5 people next week and invite 5 people to take a look, and I have a crappy introduction, but I talk to 100 people next week, I bet you I win. So the numbers are the numbers are the numbers, right? Don't worry so much why or how, just realize that you haven't been doing it, everybody. You know what I mean? Well, I don't know. Hey, I saw a sign. You guys would love this. Will, it said this: it's the starting that's stopping you. So for some of us, we've never talked to 20 people in a week, or not in a long time. So just like going to the gym, it's the starting that's stopping you. It was a sign at the outside of a gym, and it said it's the starting that's stopping you. And I was just like, wow. Same thing with reading the Bible, same thing with starting a diet, same thing with opening a new business, right? Reading more, starting about. It's the starting that's stopping you. And Will, congratulations on starting, brother.
Thank you.
You started it. You know what I mean?
I gotta brag on Will for a second. This man is
Spence.
persistent, so committed that even when we were out the bar having fun late at night, he's still talking to people, giving them the knowledge, giving them the information, handing out cards. This man is dedicated. He is going to go far.
Congratulations.
100%.
Appreciate that.
All right, guys.
I wanted to add on real quick, Tony, about what you're just saying. The cover of my journal, I don't know if you can see it's reversed. It's Dare to Begin. It's powerful.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks so much, Will. Timmer, thanks for chiming in. Spencer, thanks for chiming in.
Thank you all.
Everybody right back here next Monday night. Not only do we have a great little briefing in the front, we've got the announcements, and then we've got another training on some role playing next week. So Karen, I'll turn it back to you. Thanks.
Okay, well, thank you so much. Everybody did fantastic. Great tips. This is Shield Nation is where top leaders and producers are made, not born. And be inspired to break through to your next level. What are you going for? Performance Club, next level, senior director, executive director, and beyond. go for it. You have the ability if you just take action. We'll be back next week and it's going to be fantastic. You've got a whole new platform. Okay, with that, have a great evening. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank